I am LaWanna Bradford here with my co-founder of this amazing community, Miss Barbara Beckley. Barbara, how's it going?
Going good, lady. Going good.
Going good. And we are here with our returning special guest, Vanessa Hardee. Hey, Vanessa.
Hello, ladies. I'm glad I'm filling my time up with you, ladies.
Yay, yay, yay.
Awesome.
So how's everyone's week been so far? Pretty good?
Pretty good. I'm grateful. I won't complain.
I hear you.
Ditto.
Well, today we are going to talk about finding your voice and using the power of the pen. But today, we thought it was real important to talk about the importance of finding your voice, your authentic voice, and being comfortable in expressing that. And then being able to translate that into the power of the pen. But before we go into it, I want to just turn it over briefly to you, Vanessa, so that you can tell the audience all about the wonderful you. Who is Vanessa?
Vanessa. Vanessa is a creative, committed, worthy, valuable, and powerful woman. She comes from a family who believe that Christ is the head of their household. I come from a father who is a construction worker and a mother who is a nurse. So I come from a family that's talented and filled with entrepreneurs. I come from the streets of Brooklyn, who raised me and taught me so many things, public school, education, and it's been great. I'm now retired, not tired, and not fired from 22 years, 5 months, and 3 days from the New York City Department of Corrections. Education. Woo! And I am enjoying life. We relocated to Atlanta. We've been here almost 6 months, and life has been good. The transition has been well. I've been writing poetry since I was about 9 years old. That is where I found my voice and put it paper to pen. I love writing poetry. I'm a writer. I'm a mother. I created a one-woman show. I have an organizational business where I help people to organize their closets, their dens, their homes. And, when you organize your mind, your space. So my slogan was always free your space, free your mind. So right now I'm living the life of retired and doing things that I don't need to do, that I don't have to do, but that I want to do. And I'm going to find more joy in the latter parts of my years. And that completes me for right now.
I love that. And I love what you said about, freeing your mind. And I think when we talk about finding your voice, there has to be some sort of liberation that comes first. We don't just start speaking our truth. I mean, because when you think about all of the years of socialization, of impressions placed upon us, of beliefs placed upon us, sometimes it ends up shackling us, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm using these words intentionally. But, it shackles us, and we become fearful of just showing the world who we are through verbal expression or written expression. Barbara, I know with you talked about being shy growing up. How does that resonate with you?
One of the biggest reasons why I was so shy is because I didn't feel like I had value, because what happened to me when I was younger, I was bullied a lot. At the beginning stage, 8 or 9. So that started that shell to close in my head. And when I think about it now, being much older, and I went through, like you said, you go through the process of life, I put that shell in me, because I always tell people now, you don't let other people cause you to feel or do because they're telling you. You need to say, you know what? I have control over that. But I didn't feel control over that at that time because I was much younger. So that's when I started getting that shell, and I was like, I was shy. I was like, I feel like anything I said or I was going to do was going to be wrong, was not going to be right, because they were telling me already in my ear that I was not right. But now it's people said I can't shut up. One.
Makes me
That's
think
okay,
about that.
Barbara. That's okay, Barbara. They tell me the same thing too, and I'll be whatever.
I can't remember who the rap was by, but remember the rap, you talk too much, homegirl, you never shut up.
You got a big mouth, big mouth.
I remember that rap. That was fair.
But there's nothing wrong with us vocalizing whatever it is, our beliefs, our sentiments. But I want to throw this out at you. So I was talking to a person, and they were talking about writing. You know, they want to eventually put out their memoir. And they said, some people may not like what I have to say. Bless you. And I said, oh, you know, our life is our life. I get that. But I want to ask you, what is your thought about the feeling of being responsible in your words, whether it's spoken or written? Or do you think that it doesn't matter? I just throw whatever out that I want to throw out, and it is what it is.
I'm going to say you can have a responsibility of writing if you're going to pick a specific audience to write for. When you automatically say poetry, 99% of the time, my thought is that if I hear somebody's going to do poetry, that's their words, their thoughts, their feelings. So it can be, however. Now, if there's going to be explicit lyrics, then you might want to let somebody know, not for ages, 16 and under or 13 and under. But I think when you take responsibility, when you decide to have responsibility for your voice, you don't know who is going to hit. In a crowd of people, maybe only 10 people will get it. But those 10 people can transfer it to 10,000. So I always feel that what I have to say or what somebody has to say is important. It may not be important, or it could be important to everybody. Let's say it's important to everybody, but maybe only the first 6 lines are important to you, LaWanna. And then maybe the last 3 lines that you hear of that poem is for you, you know? So it depends. I don't believe that you should dim your light, because I've done it for so many years. And that's one of the reasons why I started writing, was because I felt nobody was going to listen, or maybe nobody really cared about what I had to say. So that was my way of writing it down. And I was like, okay, I wrote it down. I like how it sounds. This is cool. I got to say what I wanted to say. And, nobody has to know about it. And then when I started sharing it, people were like, with my friends, they were like, are you kidding me? Like, people got to hear this stuff. And I was like, really? You think so? They were the ones who pushed me forward. So I do believe that however you want to say it how it needs to work, that it's for somebody. And out of a whole book, you may only get 3. Somebody may get 2. Somebody may get 1. Just like the Bible. You can read a story and then you go back and read it 3 years later and it hits different. So I don't believe in dimming the light. Say what you got to say how you want to say it, and free yourself.
I like that. And just to put this in context to those who are listening, we're referring to that message or messages that you want to get out to the masses. Okay. This isn't about I want how you may express yourself in your marriage or to your children. I want to be very specific when we're talking about finding your voice. It's that message that's bigger than you, right? That can create impact, that can be a catalyst for change, that can help inform, inspire, educate, motivate, stimulate individuals in life. Barbara, I know you are a 6-time award-winning, international best-selling author. What do you have to say? I think you kind of found your voice, huh?
Yeah, and many more books to come, right? Yes. Boy, when I found out I could be in a collaboration book 3 years ago, I don't know what happened, but I just took off running after that. And I think the biggest reason, because I told myself, because somebody asked me, they said, Barbara, why did you put a chapter in your first, collaboration book? What provoked you to do it? And I told, at that time, a lot of people do it for credibility. A lot of people do it for legacy and stuff. I did it because I wanted to be, and I'm using this a lot now these days, a lighthouse to others of the story that I felt like would hit other people so they can know it's okay. So they can understand that, I felt your pain, and this is what I went through, and this is how I got to the other side. Guess what? You can get to the other side too. So that's why I first did that first chapter. I wasn't even thinking about credibility and stuff. I mean, they told me after that, well, Barbara, you could do this, But the first thing I was thinking of is I need to put my story in there so somebody don't have to feel like they're alone or hurting so much that there's no way out. And that's why I did it that first time. And then I just seemed like it just got the bug after that. I just kept going with these chapters and just adding more and more to it.
Found that voice.
Yes. And hopefully help to find others their voice,
And, when we hear, and I want to turn this over to you, Vanessa, to talk as much as you want about this, but we hear the push, find your voice, find your voice. How do people really find their voice? How do you know that what you are expressing is really you and not impressions that other people are? It's like you get to the point that that this is truly me, and I'm not who other people say that I am, but this is me. How do you know that? When do you realize that you've arrived at recognizing yourself?
Because when it's quiet, that's all you hear. When you're going through something and you're quiet, or before you go to sleep, or when you first wake up, that's what you hear. If it's something that you really like to do, that's your voice. Some people's voice are in baking. Like my mother is an introvert, right? But she say what she mean and she means what she says. But when she bakes cakes, everybody knows as soon as you cut it, it's going to fall apart. Like it's so moist, yet it's so rich and it's so good. And that was my mother's voice. You understand what I'm saying? That's where her love came from. It came from her cooking and her sewing and caring for people. Everybody's voice is not the same. Everybody can't write. Some people can sing. Some people can dance. Some people can paint. Some people can do sculptures. Everybody's voice is different. But when you find your voice, because it's really natural. If you're looking for your voice, you pretty much are looking right over it. You're probably not even paying attention to it. But if it's just something that you love to do, that is your voice. And I also believe that experience is a good teacher. A lot of my poems tell stories, things that happened, things that I realized, things that I went through. So when it comes to a voice, I think sometimes, because I'm speaking from experience, I think sometimes we're so busy looking. Oh man, what's my purpose? What am I good at? I keep hearing people saying, purpose, find your purpose. Let me get some books. let me read. What TD Jakes say today? What did Joel Osteen say today? What is Juanita Bynum talking about today? Let me go to a mastermind class. I need more coaching. Like, what's my voice? Who am I? Where am I? Be quiet. Be quiet. You don't know your purpose because you keep talking. You keep moving. You keep being busy in busyness. Busyness is not being busy. It's busy doing nothing. Now, if you want to be busy doing nothing, then okay, fine. But sometimes just chill out. You can be sitting, listening to rain, and all of a sudden, when I used to do praise dance, liturgical dance, it could be raining outside, and then a song would come in my spirit, and I would play it. And next thing you know, I was dancing like none other. And I'm like, man, like, what did I just do? I need to remember that so I can like show other people so we can, do this at church. Like, oh my goodness. It's just something that comes over you. Sometimes you just got to be still, and just listen to yourself. And a lot of people think, oh, God is not talking to me because you're in some mystical world thinking God's going to be like, LaWanna, this is your purpose. That's not God's voice. God's voice is your voice because you're made in his image. So when you're still and you're like, man, you know what? I've seen this lady make a carrot cake. I probably could do that. Next, you make a carrot cake. Your friends are like, oh my goodness, I didn't know you could bake. And you're saying to yourself, shucks, neither did I. So now you try a butter pecan or you try a pineapple upside down. And next thing you know, you're like, oh my goodness, I love baking. Like, this is what I'm supposed to do. And your friends are like, guess what? One of my friends tasted a slice of your cake and they want you to make a cake for their birthday. Wait a minute, I can make money at this? I mean, I listened to the story of Marie Callender. You heard about Marie Callender, the one that's in the supermarket.
I love Marie Callender.
The chicken pot pies. Guess what her story was? Where she worked at a diner, they were about to close. And she said, well, maybe I'll bring a couple of my chicken pot pies. They sold out. And then her boss is like, listen, you're going to have to make some more of those pies. And fast forward, she had to open up a place someplace else and start making the pies. Next thing you know, she became famous. And just from making one pie. And they're in all the Walmarts, Kroger's, I don't know, you name it.
But most people don't realize that she started off with tons of restaurants. I mean, she's on the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
But I know her frozen foods are now, because I was one of them. I love the crust. I love that it tastes like it's homemade, even though it's coming from frozen. But I was like, Marie Callender's pretty good. And then it was Steve Harvey, how I heard about her story. And I'm like, look at that. Just because she wanted to help somebody and help her boss not close his business, she ended up finding her own voice and creating her own business for herself just from helping somebody. So I always say the best way to find your voice is to not listen to anybody. Listen to yourself, spend some time with yourself. And then when you do decide to do something, your friends will let you know. Your family will let you know. This is awesome. This is great. You should do this. You should do that. And when you see the progression and the happier you feel about it, and when you feel like a release, that's it. That's your voice. When you feel the release coming through, like, oh my goodness, this feels so great doing this. I was shy for years, not wanting to perform my poetry. And the first time I did was in Brooklyn at Brooklyn Moon Cafe. And I was so nervous. What am I going to wear? And I got up there, and when I was done, I was just like, I cannot believe I just did that. I had goosebumps. And even now to this day, when I perform my poetry, it's still such a great feeling. It's like, man, those butterflies are so worth it, and that's, I think I'm complete on that. It's just listen to yourself. You're not going to hear that mystical voice from TV like it's God. It's going to be you, and you will tell yourself what you like to do. It could be more than one thing. You never know. But if you listen to yourself, your voice is right there. It's been with you the whole time, the whole entire time.
I love the entire story that you just painted, and the golden nugget for those of you that are listening. We are here with special guest Vanessa Hardee, and we're talking about finding your voice and using the power of the pen. And this is specifically about that message, that impact that you're having outside of yourself. And there's so much truth in being silent, and I find that many people are afraid of the silence. You go into their homes and there's TV, there's music, there's a lot of noise going on, but just to literally sit silent, people are afraid of it. I know, I don't know if I shared this with you, Barbara, but I have a friend, and I really like quiet. And I think he came to my home and he walked in and he looked really puzzled. He was looking around thinking, what is he looking for? And he said, and he started whispering, he said, it's like being in a mausoleum. And I said, no, that's called peace. But it just felt so foreign to him. He's like, you have nothing on. I'm like, I know. I just enjoy the quiet. I really enjoy listening to the sound of my thoughts. But I know that can be very fearful for people, because when you are finding your voice, again, like we started off with, you first are finding out who you are. And sometimes that can be scary, because we got to peel back a lot of the muck, right? Of who our parents may have said we were, or the garbage and ash and trash that we may have picked up along the way. But who we are was instilled in us from before we were even conceived. And, if you just trust that divine genius is there, and at the appointed time, it will reveal itself. Then you can just relax. You don't, as you were saying, you don't have to get so stressed out about, I got to find my purpose. I got to find my purpose. Just be, right? Just be, Barbara, because you're the purpose guru, Barbara.
Well, Miss Vanessa was hitting it. I was back. I was like doing that cheerleading, rooting, like, yes, listen, just listen. And you're right. It all boils down to that. And I was thinking, when you were saying that, you just sit still and just be calm and just sit there and listen. And for me, there was a little opposite, because me growing into being the speaker that I didn't think I was going to be, I thought at the beginning I had to okay, I got to speak like this, and I got to be, this is Barbara J. Beckley, and I'm coming from blah, blah, blah. And people that was listening to me, they were like, who is that? Who is that person that's speaking? And they weren't doing like, who is like, oh, she's awesome. They were doing like, I don't even recognize who you are. And that opened a big door in my head, because that made me realize I'm trying to be, this person, this person, this person, this person. Where's Barbara? Like they said, where's Waldo? Where's Barbara? Barbara was not in the mix anywhere with their speaking, until I was having a conversation with just friends, and they said, that's it. And I'm looking at them like, what? They said, that's it. You know how you're talking to us right now, the conversation? That's your voice. That's who you are. Be that when you go in front of the video. Be that when you're talking to others when you're interviewing. That's who you need to be. That's Barbara. That I'm Barbara Beckley is not. So I loved how I was open enough to listen, even after I sat to myself and listened, thought that I was doing the right thing, and come to find out I still was doing somebody else. So
I like that you shared that, Barbara, because I remember Barbara came to me, and we've known each other for a little over 3 years now, but it was at the beginning of her platform, her Diamond Factor experience. And I remember the struggle, the angst that she was going through, because you had one side telling her, who saw who she was, oh, you're being too whatever it was, right? You're not fitting the mold. Right. And she struggled with it. And we had a conversation. She's like, well, LaWanna, they're saying I shouldn't be this. And I'm like, but if that's you, that's like telling me stop being black. This is me. I am a Black woman, and I'm not ashamed of saying I'm a Black woman. As long as I'm not offending you in my beingness, then all is good. And I'd like you to talk to that, Vanessa, because you use poetry as a way to, I guess, to heal, to evolve. How can other people use, now I want to go to the power of the pen, to really start to explore themselves even more and get to the point where we can, as we say in Celebrate You, love yourself and embrace yourself and all, the good, the bad, all wrapped up in a bow. You are still a beautiful, divine creation.
I would say, first off, um, congratulations to Barbara for finding her voice and being open to listening to other people, because what they were really telling you, Barbara, was just be authentic. Just be authentic. And when you're authentic, one, and vulnerable, two, so much can open up for you and your world. Speaking your truth, people know, you know, in the streets, they say when you fronting. People know when you're not being real, especially people who know you. Some may say it's not you because they haven't progressed with you. So there may be some people, oh, she's not really like that, but they may be stuck in one area where you have grown. So you have to be careful who's telling you that's not you. Are you saying that's not me because I've grown and I've transformed and I'm progressed and I moved into other things? Or are you saying that's not me because you feel I'm not talking a certain way to please you? You know what I mean? So I think even when you write things down, because everybody can journal. It doesn't have to be poetry. Poetry is kind of how I journal, because I journal through storytelling. Like I said, things that have happened to me, things that I've done, being in love, losing people. So I think your power can be in your pen when you're even just journaling. And you can go back 3 years from now and say, you know what? I cannot believe during the pandemic, I found out how strong I am. I found out, how tenacious I can be, how creative I can be. I cannot believe that all this time I have been sitting on making handbags. And when the pandemic came and my hours got cut, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make me a handbag because I'm bored. I don't have nothing to do. And then your neighbor asks, can you make her one? Can you make her one for her mother? Then your other neighbors or your cousins or your coworkers is like, girl, I didn't know you could do that. And next thing you know, you were making more money from making handbags than you were from your regular salary. So if you just write down some things to remind yourself when you're in a dark place, like, man, in 2019, 2020, 2021, like, this is what I was doing. I can't get lost. This is who I am. So you don't have to write poetry. You can just journal. You can just journal about an event, how you handle an event, what kind of event you're going to create. But if you write things down, you have a place. What I want to say, like you're creating history in your own handwriting, and you can have books and books and books of journals. You can pass them on to other people. My goal is to create an email and leave that in my will for my daughter to know the password. And she can go through those emails and see, oh my goodness, mommy was really upset with me this day. And then we went out and got ice cream anyhow, like just things, because I wish there was some things I knew, like how my parents handled certain things, because in those days it was a child supposed to be seen and not heard. And I understand that sometimes, you got to take from Peter to pay Paul. But, I want my daughter to know those things through the emails, because I want her to know that no matter what happens, you can make it. So you will get real life stories just from my journaling or just from my poetry. So I think it's really important that people document things, because I learned in the Department of Education, if you don't write it down, it never happened. You can tell stories for days and days and days, But if you write it down, it makes it even more real for you and for generations to come. So I think that's part of a legacy that we all can leave behind and stick it in the library or just pass it from family to family. There's so many stories that can help people. Just being on Clubhouse, hearing other people, I've been inspired by so many people who, when I thought I've had a darkest day, there's some people with some darker days. In the words of my a previous pastor I used to have, he said, just keep on living. You'll find out. Just keep on living. So I just want to tell people, as long as you're living, keep loving, keep writing. Even when you think you're in a dark time, write it down. Cry, write another sentence. Cough, sneeze, whatever, write another sentence. Call a friend, talk to God, write another sentence, write another paragraph. And you will be surprised. You might even have a bestseller when you're done. Who knows? Just from one situation.
I love what you said about, because we know that, and I'll focus on, African Americans and other ethnic groups. We have strong oral history, right? But then when you're thinking about the written history, and we think about what was taught in schools, right? Little snippets of what they wanted us to hear or learn, but so much was missing. But now we have technology, we have the education. There's so many ways that now we can take ownership of, as you said, the stories that we want to tell, how it's told, and leave it behind for the next generation. And we are a part of history. We are actually living history. But we tend not to think about life that way. But when we're looking at, you think about the presidential libraries, right? All of that is nothing but their notes, their journals.
Yes.
And then it's all archived nicely for us to study and review. And just imagine if families started doing that, like you said, whether it's poetry, whether it's through song, whether it's video. I mean, capturing all of this amazing, rich content that we know from where we came, so that we can build on that greatness to establish a better tomorrow, not just for ourselves and our respective communities, but for humanity overall.
Yes, I agree totally. I agree. Write it down, make it plain. Just like your vision for your life, write it down and make it plain. You'd be surprised how you can help somebody. I mean, who thought that maybe when they made the first sweet potato pie and passed on that recipe, you know how many people are making sweet potato pies? Like, you know how many people are like frying turkeys? Somebody might have did it that one time. How did you fry a turkey? This is what I did. This is the oil I used. Now everybody's frying turkeys.
Oops. Well, on that fried turkey note,
it's like
I want to let people know. She may jump back in, but we're actually at time. One of the things that we're doing, and we're real excited, Barbara has her Diamond Factor Experience TV show. I have my Choose to Challenge TV show, and part of that is called the Power of the Pen series. And this Power of the Pen series is designed to spotlight 21 women. We're starting with 21 women who want to showcase their written work. And it has to have been work published in 2021. So 21 women who've been published in 2021. And we're looking for those that are writing about business. It's not necessarily your personal story, but it's that message. It can be, but it's that bigger message, that bigger so what factor that you want to get out to the masses. And this is no cost. We're bringing you on, interviewing you, and letting people know how they can get in touch with you, how they can purchase your book. Maybe they're so inspired by hearing a snippet of your message that they want you to come and share at a virtual event, at a live event. Maybe they want you to teach some of the principles that you're sharing in your book.
F. Scott Fitzgerald stated, "Don't write because you want to say something. Write because you have something to say." There are thousands of people waiting to read your book and hear your message. Be a guest on the Power of the Pen TV series. To complete your application and schedule your interview, call 404-618-2824 today. The world is waiting for you.
And one of the things that I know that Barbara has been doing with her platform, and I want to turn it over to you, Barbara, with the Diamond Factor, is the whole purpose is to spotlight and to showcase individuals in business and in life, and allowing them a platform to express their voice. Barbara.
Oh, she's back. Yeah. So my platform, my biggest thing, I'm always saying, I like to be that person to help people get that visibility so people can know who you are. Not just, a list of your titles. I've been saying that a lot lately. I've been interviewing people, but having that conversation. Me and LaWanna, I think we're both big on that now. Let's just have a conversation to get to know you so people can relate to you. And, that relate and trust factor needs to come into play before you even ask, being a client, business partner, friend. So that's what I do on the platform. I try to make sure that we have those conversations when you come on, so people can be like, "Oh, I like what LaWanna said. That was good. She's a nice lady. I got to talk to her." Or Vanessa, she just talking about that poetry. You get to learn better, and that's what the platform that I bring to the table for people.
Love that. And I'm putting that here. So if you, again, have a message, you're in business, in life, and you want to be spotlighted on the Diamond Factor Experience Show, please DM Barbara Beckley for more information. Vanessa, how can people contact you if they need a poetress, if they need I know that they can commission the writing of poetry. In fact, I still owe you some material because you're going to do a poem for my dad. So I'm so excited about that. So what's your contact information?
Okay, for poetry, for my one-woman show, you can reach me at Poetic Locks 2, POETIC like Charles, LOX like X-ray, number 2 at Yahoo. I'm also on Instagram as Poetic Butterfly 27, and those are the 2 places that you can find me.
Okay, so Poetic Locks, LOX at yahoo.com, or Poetic Butterfly 21, and that's on what platform?
Poetic Locks 2 at yahoo.com, and Poetic Butterfly 27, like my birthday, 27.
And that's on what platform?
Instagram. That's on Instagram.
Okay.
It is always a blast being with you two bubbly ladies. If anybody wants to have a great conversation, promote their business, what they're doing, celebrate themselves or someone else, this is the place to be. They are authentic, they are real, they're about the business, and you can't get any greater love than being on here. They are the same here, on camera and off camera. And it was a blessing to meet LaWanna on Clubhouse. How about that? And we have connected since then in many other ways. And I heard her talk about, I think Barbara said about being a lighthouse. And it's funny because I always call LaWanna a beacon of light. So see how you two go together? Yes. And I thank you for this opportunity. It has been great. I love, love, love coming here. It is always a great experience. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for saying yes. We definitely will have you back. And we have another friend, Carrie, we'll line it up so she can come and be with us on this platform too and hear her perspective, just in, again, expressing yourself and not being afraid of your own voice. You never know whose life you can impact, what difference you can make, what legacy you can leave. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Barbara to close us out.
Okay. Thank you so much, Queen Vanessa, for saying those nice, kind words to both of us. We got to put the flowers out there before we leave. So thank you for those flowers.
Good night, everyone.
Ladies, good night. Have a great weekend.